Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is The Boy Who Saved the Royal Dessert. Vienna, 1832s now, lay thick on the rooftops of Alserverstadt, a quiet neighborhood near the old city walls. Seldwyns skated on frozen puddles in the alley behind the market, but inside Prince Metternich's great palace, nobody was skating. The kitchen never stopped. All day long it smelled of warm bread, roasting meat, and melted butter. Copper pots hung from iron hooks. Big as wash tubs, gleaming orange in the firelight, steam rose from the soup cauldrons in white. Curling clouds, knives clicked steadily against wooden boards. Young Franz Sacher stood at a low table near the window. Peeling carrots, he was 16 years old, small for his age, with neat hands and careful eyes. His father Anton worked in this same palace as a locksmith, so Franz had grown up watching this kitchen from the doorway. He had always wanted to work here for 2 years now. He had been an apprentice, he had learned to slice vegetables thin as paper, he had learned to fold pastry dough until it puffed up golden. He had learned to taste a sauce and say, "It needs 1 pinch more salt." The head chef was a tall man with enormous gray whiskers. He moved through the kitchen like a general moves through a battle. "Sacher, that pot is boiling over." "Sacher, sweep the floor." "Sacher, do not put rosemary in the fish." Franz ran. Franz stirred. Franz learned. He was not the best cook in the kitchen yet. He knew that, but he loved this place, its heat, its noise, and its 100 different smells all tumbling together. He dreamed of the day he would create something himself. That day he thought was very far away. The morning of the grand dinner, Franz arrived before sunrise. The palace was still mostly dark. Only the kitchen glowed with warm firelight. Tonight was a very important evening. Prince Metternich was one of the most powerful men in all of Europe. When he held a dinner, his guests were ministers, counts, and ambassadors. Every dish tonight had to be magnificent. But when Franz pushed open the kitchen door, something was wrong. The head chef sat slumped in a chair beside the hearth. His face was pale as flour. His hands trembled on his knees. "I cannot cook tonight," the chef said. "I have a fever. I cannot even stand." The other cooks looked at the floor. No one volunteered. Then a servant came rushing in from upstairs. He carried a small card written in Prince Metternich's own hand. The servant read it carefully, his voice quiet. "Tonight's dessert must be remarkable, something no one has ever tasted before." He paused. Then he read the last line, "Don't embarrass me tonight." The kitchen went completely still. The head chef looked slowly around the room. He looked at the senior cooks. They looked away. He looked at the pastry helper. She looked down. His eyes moved across the room and stopped at Franz, standing by the flour shelf, holding a clay jar. "Sacher," the chef said, "you are the one I trust with the chocolate." Franz stared at him. He was only in his second year. He had never made a dessert for a royal feast, but the chef's eyes were serious. Franz set down the jar. "Yes, sir," he said quietly. Franz walked to the long preparation table. He looked at what was there: flour, butter, eggs, sugar, a heavy clay pot of apricot jam, golden orange like late afternoon sunshine, and in the corner, carefully wrapped in cloth, a block of dark chocolate. It came from the prince's private pantry. This was the finest chocolate in Vienna. Franz had never cooked with chocolate this valuable before. His hands trembled slightly. He pressed them flat on the table until they were still. Then he began. He broke the chocolate into pieces and set them in a bowl above a pan of hot water. The chocolate melted slowly at first, thin dark ribbons at the edges. Then it softened in the middle. Then all at once a smell rose up that was deeper and richer than anything else in the kitchen, dark sweet like something from a very faraway country. He poured the chocolate into a separate bowl to cool a little. Then he beat the butter until it turned pale and soft. He added the sugar. He cracked each egg sharply against the rim. 1, 2, 3, and stirred them in. The mixture turned light and smooth. He added the cooled chocolate. The batter went the deep brown color of polished walnut wood. Now came the question Franz had been thinking about: what to do with the apricot jam. He opened the clay pot. The jam smelled of summer, sharp and sweet and fruity. He made a decision. He spread a thin layer of jam across the bottom of the round baking pan. He poured in half the dark batter. He spread a thinner layer of jam across the middle. He poured the rest of the batter on top. He slid the pan into the hot oven and shut the heavy iron door. Then he waited. The kitchen moved around him, other cooks chopping, arguing, clattering, but Franz stood very still near the oven. He listened to the soft, quiet sound of something baking inside. When Franz finally opened the oven door, the other cooks stopped talking. One by one, they turned. The cake had a dark, firm crust. The smell hit the room like a wave, not like bread, not like pastry, like something entirely new. A girl washing dishes near the window sniffed the air. "What is that?" she said. Franz carried the cake to the cool stone shelf. He waited for it to cool. While he waited, he melted more chocolate in a small pan over the fire. He stirred in a little butter to make it smooth and pourable. When it was ready, he poured it slowly over the cake. It ran down the sides in thick, glossy ribbons. He smoothed it with a flat knife until the surface shone like dark glass. He stepped back, no sugar flowers, no decoration, just dark chocolate, and underneath it, the hidden layers of golden apricot. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever made. The head chef shuffled over from his chair. He leaned close and studied the cake. He reached out one trembling finger and touched the edge of the glaze. He tasted it. He said nothing for a moment, then, very softly, remarkable. His tired eyes looked at Franz. In those eyes, Franz saw something he had never seen before. Pride. The cake went upstairs on a silver tray. Franz sat down on an empty flour sack near the fire. His arm ached. His apron was covered in chocolate. From upstairs came sounds. Footsteps, the clink of glasses, low voices, then silence. A long, strange silence. Franz pressed his hands together in his lap, then sound flooded down through the floorboards. Many voices at once, pleased voices, surprised voices, delighted voices. A servant came clattering down the stairs. They wanted to know who made the dessert. Franz stood slowly. I did, he said. The servant looked at him. This flour-dusted boy with chocolate on his apron. You? Yes, said Franz. A little later, a second servant came down with a handwritten card. Prince Metternich says, "Well done, young Sacher." Franz held that card in both hands. He was too tired to smile yet, but something warm and bright had started glowing inside him. He had done it. He had made something from nothing, a block of chocolate, a jar of jam, a handful of eggs, and out of those simple things, something the most powerful man in Europe had called remarkable. Years passed. Franz Sacher grew up. He worked in other great houses, traveling east with a noble family called the Esterházys. In 1840, he married a woman named Rosalia at a small church in Vienna. They had 3 sons. One of them was named Eduard. Eduard loved his father's story. He loved the part about the sick chef and the long silence upstairs. He decided he would learn everything there was to know about pastry. He trained at the finest bakery in Vienna, the place where the royal family ordered their sweets. He spent years learning the perfect temperature, the perfect fold. He spent years getting the chocolate exactly right in 1876. Eduard opened a hotel in the very heart of Vienna. It stood right beside the Grand Opera House. He called it Hotel Sacher. He put his father's cake on the menu. He called it the Sachertorte Sacher's cake. Visitors came from Paris and London and Budapest and St. Petersburg. All of them wanted to taste it. And when Viennese families had something wonderful to celebrate, a birthday, a holiday, a new beginning, they brought out a Sachertorte. The dark chocolate glaze caught the candlelight. Someone cut the first slice, and the apricot shone golden in the middle. Someone always said, "Do you know where this cake comes from?" A boy, a sick chef, a block of chocolate, one cold evening in 1832. That is how a 16-year-old apprentice from Alserverstadt gave Vienna its most famous taste. And so Vienna also slowly fell asleep. Good.